In this video, we are talking day in the life of an account executive. The reason you want to watch until the end is that you are going to learn what an account executive actually does, how I structure my day as an AE, how I approach prospecting, and then what does an average sales cycle, sales process in software sales actually look like. I started my career as an SDR, sales development representative, 3 years ago right out of college. I've worked my way up the ranks at my fast growing software sales company that actually just recently went public and recently got promoted to an account executive a couple quarters ago. I've made over 38,000 cold calls, leading to over $1 million in one revenue. And in today's video, you are gonna learn everything we just listed, and I'm gonna share with you my wisdom and what I've learned along the way to hopefully help you find success in your sales career sooner rather than later. This is day 101, putting out a brand new video on this channel. We are building a community of sales professionals who want more out of their own lives and who are driven and ambitious and just simply want to go make it happen, like myself. That's what we talk about each and every day. If you want to join this community and support the channel, make sure to subscribe to the channel now. And if you have 1 second to spare, make sure to hit that like button as well. Thank you guys for that. What does an account executive actually do? I think it's important to call out and recognize, as an account executive, my role and focus for the organization and core function is to accelerate top-line revenue growth for my organization. I am working with prospects and customers and clients and whoever, trying to sell them deals to generate more revenue for my company. When you are in an individual contributor, quota carrying role that is revenue producing, it's critical that you know what you're doing so that you can accelerate deal cycles and close more revenue, hit your quota more consistently. I am working with people day in and day out, trying to get them to buy the software, trying to get them to say yes. There's a lot that goes into that, and the first logical step that we need to cover is prospecting. The only way that you're gonna generate revenue is starting with pipeline. To generate pipeline, you need to set meetings with prospective buyers. Whether it's an existing customer account, it's a lot easier to upsell an existing customer than it is to acquire a new client. So there's a lot of strategy that goes into prospecting. Me as an account executive, when I first got promoted a couple quarters ago, I got a book of business. I got about 750 companies. I got maybe 5 organizations with $2 billion in revenue. I got maybe 10, 15 between that 500 mil and 1 billion in revenue. And you're gonna have an account book broken out based on segments, whether it's employee count, industry, revenue. And the further you go in your sales career, as I promote to a senior and account executive and an enterprise software sales rep, your account book starts to shrink and get smaller, but the quality of your account starts to increase. It starts to increase in revenue, and you start to work with those large enterprise customers. Imagine if your customer was Amazon, Microsoft, Google, Snowflake, whoever, these companies with all this money, Tesla. Imagine selling Tesla the software to help their business grow. That's exciting, and that's why you want to be in software sales, because you're at the forefront of innovation. From a prospecting standpoint, I have all the companies, I identify who the top companies are, and just know that a day in the life of an account executive is going to look different each and every day. Some days you're going to be more focused on prospecting so that you can generate pipeline. Some days you're going to be more focused on running your actual deals, and we're going to get into what the sales cycle looks like for an account executive and in software sales. It's gonna be a lot longer than you think, so make sure to stick around so that we can cover that. But from a prospecting standpoint, I get this question all the time on LinkedIn. Feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn as well. Would love to hear any questions, would love for just to hear you say what's up, and would love any feedback you may have. So let's join networks as well. But a common question I get is, Trent, how do you approach prospecting? What do you actually do? You're gonna get your account list. After you've identified your top accounts, you then start prospecting. Depending on the company you work for, you're gonna have different tools that help you. Me personally, in my role, I have Salesforce. That's my CRM, customer relationship management software, to house all of my accounts, house all my activities. The other critical tools I need are Zoom Info to help me identify people at the companies, if they're still there, their direct numbers. I use Outreach, which is essentially a system that helps me house all of my sequences and tasks of calls and emails. I use LinkedIn Sales Navigator, and then that's pretty much it. That's all I use for prospecting. I may be forgetting some, but what I do is go into my top 10 accounts. I identify who are my buyer personas, who has your money, who are the people that could benefit from your product. You need to be able to understand what is your product market fit, what is the value proposition, what is the common challenges you're solving, and start to identify the folks who may be able to purchase your product. You then start reaching out to them. You put them in Salesforce. You then put them in what's called a sequence, which is just a cadence of calls and emails. That's housed in outreach. And then you just continuously do that. And the thing most people forget is that sales is a numbers game. It's pure volume. Similar if you're trying to go on dates or attract women. It's simply the more you ask. If you ask 10 people or if you ask 100 people, how many more yeses are you going to get? And guys, just know that you only need to be right once. You just need to get a yes once. You're going to get a lot of no's, but you start calling people, you start emailing people, cold calling, doing all that. We have a lot of videos on this channel about cold calling, but eventually you're going to set up meetings. And when you start to get meetings, that is when the sales cycle begins. And that's what we're now going to dive into right now. If you're still with me and haven't already liked the video, I don't know what you're doing, so go ahead and do that now. But when we look at the sales cycle, I cold call you, Jimmy. Hey, Jimmy, would you like to take a meeting next week to learn more about XYZ? This is how it's going to help. Yes, Trent, that sounds great. Okay, Jimmy, let me send you a calendar invite for next Wednesday, whatever it is. Next Wednesday comes around, we have the meeting. That's called an initial qualifying meeting. At least that's what we refer at Qualtrics, an IQM, initial qualifying meeting. The purpose of that conversation is for me to do discovery. Per discovery in software sales, or really any sales cycle, you need to understand pain, decision process, decision criteria. What is the metric they're evaluating a potential solution on? What is the timeline? Do they have a budget? And compelling event? Why now? There's a lot of areas. It's like a puzzle that you need to piece together. There's a lot of areas you need to solve. So as you can imagine, effective discovery is where deals are won and lost. Let's say I do a good job in discovery. Let's say the prospect, Jimmy, has a challenge. That initial meeting goes well. We will then progress that meeting. That will then be considered a qualified opportunity, which will have a corresponding pipeline amount. Essentially, whatever we think we may be able to sell that deal for, that is the pipeline amount. From that IQM, there's about two logical next steps. Either you do further discovery, and we just call that a discovery conversation. You're doing more discovery, or you go directly to a demo or solution presentation, whatever you want to call it. And sometimes you go IQM, initial meeting, discovery, demo. That is the ideal chain if you can control it. The demo, that was something I struggled with when I first got to become an account executive, because I needed to actually know what I was talking about, and you really can't hide it. And when you're getting super technical, you're going to have blind spots, and you're going to be asked questions that you really just have no idea what the answer to. So something you need to prepare for. You need to be able to adapt and talk on the fly. That's why I love this channel so much, and talking to you guys is because these videos, I don't do any preparation. We just had a title of this video, and then we just started talking. And now I'm starting to get off on a tangent. So we're now going to get back into the sales cycle. You do the initial qualifying meeting, you do discovery, you do the demo, and then from that point, there's a couple different routes you could take the deal. You could set up a customer reference call where you bring in an existing customer to talk to them. You could set up a call to bring in some sort of strategic resource, whether internal, external, part of your ecosystem. But most naturally, people are then saying, okay, I like the solution, I like the product, how much does it cost? And then we get into negotiation, and now that's a whole nother facet of sales. We can make countless videos about that. You're going IQM, discovery, demo, negotiation. At that point, a couple key things to consider. Price is important. You want to be selected as the vendor of choice. You want to confirm your potential buyers' interest in your solution. Do you want Qualtrics? Yes or no? If they do, great. Once you confirm their intent and their interest, then you can start talking price. And there's a lot of strategy around price. Once you get them to agree on that, on price, you then say, okay, very naturally, I'm going to get you the contract. Let's get this done. At that point, you then will have to get through any legal approvals, any finance approvals, any IT approvals, whatever that may be. Once you get all that cleared up, you then send them the contract. They sign the agreement. You then have the agreement. And then that was a whole new process for me to learn. Once I had the signature, what do I do with it? How do I process it? How do we get their license set up? That's going to be specific to your company. But just so you know how that flows, that sales cycle can take anywhere from 2 weeks to 6 to 9 months, depending on the deal size. there can be multiple decision makers, and it's very complex, which is why software sales salaries are so lucrative and it pays so well. And it's really the industry and the career path of the future. We are all in sales. To sell is to human. We are all in sales, whether you like it or not. And there may be a stigma around sales, but account executive is a great career path. It's something I'm enjoying. I'm making $137,000 as a 25-year-old guy, lives by himself, low rent, saving a lot of money. And it's going to put you in a position strategically to reach your economic desires, whatever it may be, to retire early, set your family up, have the future you want. Account executive's great. Put your head down now, grind. I talk a lot about that. Sacrifice now so that your future self will thank you. I thank you for watching this video. I hope you learned something new. If you already knew what we talked about, then drop a like on the video. If you learned something new, subscribe to the channel. Win-win both ways. Drop me a comment down below. Would love to hear question, thought, feedback, concern, whatever you may have. And of course, connect with me on LinkedIn as well. Let's strengthen one another's networks and continue trying to build the life each of us want. See you guys in the next video. Bye.